Have you ever had a dream that feels so big it's both the thing that gets you out of bed in the morning and the heavy weight that keeps you up at night? Yeah, you're definitely not alone. Today, we are going to get into that really complicated relationship we have with our biggest ambitions, the pain that sometimes comes with chasing them, and believe it or not, the incredible power of just hitting pause. So let's kick things off with a word that honestly just perfectly captures those massive, life-altering goals we set for ourselves: grandiose. I love this word. It so perfectly describes that feeling of something being awe-inspiring and huge, but also maybe, just maybe, a little out of reach right now. And that's exactly where all the tension starts to build. And this quote, it just nails it. It's getting at this idea that the real power behind a dream isn't about shouting it from the rooftops. It's in the quiet, day in, day out work. It's the action that gives our vision some real substance, you know? It's what makes it real, one tiny step at a time. Okay, so this is the real question, isn't it? There's such a fine line between a dream that's pushing you to be better and one that's just absolutely grinding you into dust. So how in the world do we figure out that balance? Well, let's start by taking a closer look at the dream itself. All right, first up, the grandiose dream. This is all about that massive gap between the beautiful, perfect vision we have in our heads and the messy, complicated reality of actually trying to make it happen. And now for the part that's, well, not so fun. Let's talk about the pain of the pursuit. This is that moment when our huge dreams come crashing head-on into the cold, hard facts of reality. Wow. I mean, this line from our source material is just so raw and honest. It perfectly captures that gut punch feeling. It's not just being disappointed. It's feeling like a little piece of you gets chipped away with every single setback. It's that deep, really personal feeling of failure. And here's where it gets really tricky inside our own heads. On one hand, you've got this amazing vision of the person you hope to become. But on the other hand, every time you stumble, it triggers this painful reaction, this feeling that you're just not good enough to ever get there, that you're unworthy. But hold on. Here's where things take a really important turn. What if that feeling, that deep sense of unworthiness, isn't actually a fact? This is where we start to see that we have a choice in how we view this whole struggle. Now, this is such a game-changing way to look at it. That feeling of being unworthy doesn't prove a thing. It's just a totally natural, human response to trying really hard and, yeah, failing sometimes. It's a symptom of the process, not a final judgment on your potential. You know, this is a question that's really worth sitting with for a second. When you feel that sense of unworthiness creeping in, just stop and ask yourself, who's the judge here? Where is this verdict actually coming from? And here's the answer. And it can be a tough one to swallow. We did. No one else has the authority to declare us unworthy. At some point, probably in a moment of total frustration or exhaustion, we made the choice to believe that voice. But here's the good news. A choice that we made is a choice we can unmake. So if we choose to take a step back, does that mean we're just quitting? Absolutely not. It's time to completely reframe what giving up means, and instead discover the incredible power of the pause. I just love this personal take from the source. It's not about throwing the dream away for good. It's this honest admission that, you know what, right now just isn't the time. It's about saving your energy and waiting for the right wave, for that next surge of momentum to come along and carry you forward. Let's actually give this a name because it's a seriously powerful strategy. The resting period. This isn't laziness, and it's definitely not failure. It's a deliberate, essential phase where you step back to recalibrate your internal compass, look at the whole problem from a different angle, and just recharge for the next attempt. So from the outside, someone might look at this resting period and just call it procrastination, or worse, quitting. But on the inside, you know what's really going on. It's a strategic move. It's giving yourself the space you need to find a new path, to shift your perspective entirely. Okay, so now that we're armed with this idea of a resting period, how do we jump back in with our dreams? Well, it all comes down to understanding that it's our actions, the journey itself, that gives everything its real meaning. So here's the key takeaway. If that dream is truly a part of who you are, then the old ways of measuring success and failure, they just start to fade away. The number of tries doesn't matter anymore. The focus shifts away from the outcome and onto the simple act of trying. And really, it all boils down to this.
The real food for our soul isn't necessarily getting the thing we want, but in being the kind of person who has the courage to try. The real value is found in the effort, the learning, the growing, all the stuff that happens along the way. In a lot of ways, the final result actually becomes secondary.
And just like that, we're back where we started with this opening quote. But now it feels different, doesn't it? It has so much more weight. That walking isn't just about plowing ahead. It's also about knowing when to rest, when to pivot, and when to get back up again. It's that entire journey that makes the dream finally become loud and clear. So I want to leave you with this one last thought to chew on. What if we've been looking at ambition all wrong? What if the real goal isn't some finish line we have to cross, but it's actually the courage and the resilience we build every single time we choose to just take one more step? Something to think about. Thanks so much for tuning in.